Listeners of the Tron podcast, this is your host today, Rashad Woods. Today I have a very special guest today from the beautiful city of Los Angeles, California. Jessi Sims, TikTok sensation, businesswoman, entrepreneur, and does all things well in her years that she's been here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so lovely.
Thank you. So, you're obviously doing really well. Early entrepreneur and viral sensation on TikTok and have some really good things going on in life. So just give us a little background about yourself, please.
So I'm originally from Missouri. I moved to LA 7 years ago, and I started becoming more consistent with TikTok about like 6 to 8 months ago, TikTok and Instagram especially. Recently, as of like less than a year ago, I had to create a new Instagram because my other one got hacked. And I honestly found it really refreshing. And it was like a chance to just start new, start fresh, and just grow it from the bottom up. Correct. So I am really happy about it.
Do you find it that when you had to build from the bottom up, like a lot of people have been social media resistant, but then they found out that's a great way to build their brand. So a lot of times, I was around when Facebook first came and it was just on a college dorm level, right? Like it was just like connecting people on college campuses, right? So you're like, okay, this is really cool. And then it becomes like you have to be on there in order to grow a business, a brand, and have a sustainable business model. I mean, anybody who resisted ultimately came on board. So what inspired you to actually this is the avenue I wanted to take from the very beginning?
I've always been interested. I just never really actually just pulled the trigger. And I think a lot of it was like imposter syndrome. I felt self-conscious. I was like, can I do it? Am I like of the right demographic to become successful within it? And then I ultimately just decided to be my own hype person and just continue. Because if you're not going to get anywhere if you just don't start. Right. And I don't know. I think now today it's like you have, in order to become successful within whatever business you want to do, you have to be on some sort of social media platform. And I think you just need to have fun with it. I think right now it's just the norm. It's not necessarily like, oh, I need to do this. It's just like, okay, yeah, like let's make a business account. Like let's do all of this. It's just a part of today's world.
Right. And I thought I got a chance to check out your TikTok videos, and they're very lighthearted, very nice weather outside, very good scenery, interacting with some of your friends or, colleagues and things like that. So what I found fascinating is that, your background is really about things positive because you keep things very lighthearted and well. And I'm sure that's part of your appeal when it came to segueing into other things when it comes to social media. Do you find that, it was something that you mastered early, with all the algorithms and the hashtags? Are those things that, the older users or people who just want to use it to post pictures of their family or their friends weren't really accustomed to know how powerful these tools really are?
I think I first started out as a viewer, like an avid viewer, like doom scrolling. And I kind of from the, doom scrolling. It is what it is. I kind of figured out as a viewer what I am interested in viewing as a person, what my interests are. And I'm like, I could totally do this because if I'm interested in watching it, why can't I provide it for other people who are also interested?
For sure.
So I think a lot of it, algorithm wise, is just trial and error. Right. You have to figure out what works for you, what seems authentic, what works for your audience. And then as your audience grows, then they'll really get to know you and want more of you. Right. And I think right now I'm in that transition period where yes, I do lifestyle and comedy, but right now, all the things that people are telling me, if I see people in person, they're like, I love this video. And I love hearing that because I'm like, what do you like? Because I can do more of it. And because right now I'm trying to transition more into lifestyle, but I'm also like, do you care enough about me as a person to actually want to watch what my day-to-day life is? Because if you don't know me, you don't care about me. And that's completely okay. We're not there yet. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm at on that totem pole of do you, because I know people who I've met out here, they care about me because they know me. But if you're just now following me, you don't know who I am. So why would you care about what I do every day? So I'm trying to figure out moving forward if I would want to make that transition. So I think right now I'm kind of in the bubble of doing both, which I'm very happy to be in that bubble.
How do you stand out in crowded spaces? Because now for people who grew up with social media, there's a Jake Pauls of the world, there's a Logan Pauls of the world, there's very, very successful people that managed to reach the pinnacle. Mr. Beast obviously being the most successful example.
Yeah.
So how do you manage to start standing out when, everybody's vying for attention. I mean, same thing with me in a podcast, right? So it's no different. That's certainly not a slight to what your successful is, but what do you do to stand out to make sure that you get the views, the brand partnerships, and the ability to ultimately garner your niche and create the items that are authentic to you?
So I had gone through a lot of different thought processes about like where I would want to take this. And ultimately I always go back to what do I want in this moment, in this present day, because that can always change and I can always grow and change with my platform. And I found that the videos where I'm just being myself and maybe I'm not put together, or maybe I make a joke that like, I'm like, yeah, I make that joke every day. Like, I don't know if people find it funny, but people tend to enjoy it. I think if with anyone, when you're being your authentic self, there's like a little spark in your eyes and people are drawn to that.
Right.
Obviously, I can be like, I did this crazy thing today. But if you're portraying it as yourself, then people are going to come back because they like your personality.
Right. And, you know, it's almost like you burn your toast for breakfast, and it's like, oh, as opposed to like going out to try to do something sensational for the sake of clicks. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So then it becomes, then people, you know, it's almost like a shock jock type of thing. Like, oh, you're just doing this for attention, which can work ultimately for some people too. Right?
Yeah, it can. But like, it can only go so far because at the end of the day, you only have yourself and people only like you for you.
Exactly.
So you need to figure out how to keep that at your core.
How do you keep getting original content of being you? You know, Jessi is Jessi, and people obviously have been very, very, racked up, 5.6 on one video, 2.6 on another video. So obviously you're doing something very well. Do you find that, with all due respect, like, when they tell you comedy is hard, right? People say acting is easy, comedy is hard. Do you find that because you have like a great personality, you're like, okay, am I struggling to create something new and fresh, or do I just have to keep being the authentic self that I am, and it gravitates my audience to me?
I definitely struggle. I definitely struggle with where I want to take my content, what video I want to do next. But then I always have to remind myself, like, how are you feeling in this moment? What do you want to do in this moment? And if I want to show people making coffee, I'm going to do that. If I want to show people a joke, I'm going to do that. But also when it comes to comedy, like the 2 videos that went viral, I wasn't planning them. And I've heard that that's what happens with a lot of people. The ones that go viral are just the ones that you're like, yeah, I'm just going to throw it out there. Because you're not trying so hard, because you are being yourself.
Correct.
And I found I cannot be purposefully funny. Like, I cannot do stand up. I have no jokes. I found
it's reactionary funny, right? Like where you're just
like people love my reactions.
Yeah.
The funny things I say, they're intrusive thoughts. I can't keep them in.
Yeah.
And I've just been lucky enough that people enjoy them.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is just being present and not, obviously you need a plan because it is your business. You need to figure out where you want to take it moving forward. But I think ultimately you need to stay present and then throw it out there. Because if people don't like it, people don't like it. It's out there. Right. But what if people do like it?
Exactly. And how do you strive toward, take me through the day of an influencer, right? So like, do you have to always, whenever you go out, have to be prepared to be like ready to film something, have like the stick, be dressed up or well groomed and prepared, as opposed to like, listen, I just need to go to the gym. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so is there ever a moment where you can, because I'm not an influencer, right? And, like, do you ever have to say, okay, this is not the day that I'm going to do anything? Or does it just happen where, oh, this is perfect because this moment means something and this is going to go well to the brand and to the audience? How do you, what's the thin line between, hey, I'm just going to go get out a bite to eat?
I think it depends on like what events I have planned for that day or that week, what friends I'm going to see, or if I'm just going to the gym, I'm just going grocery shopping, or I'm just going to grab a bite to eat alone, then I won't be as like physically prepared as I would going to an event, going to get drinks or dinner with a friend. But also like I have allowed myself to feel comfortable posting videos without makeup, without being dressed up, being how I am. And that took a long time to get there because I was always like, oh, I'm not wearing makeup. I don't look good. I don't feel good. I don't want people to see me like this. But that's who you are. Exactly. People are going to enjoy who you are. So if you're not wearing makeup and you want to post a video, post the video. For sure. If it doesn't do well, it doesn't do well. But
well, it's, it's funny too, because like so many people, like it's like, not everybody is 6'4" and looks like, has the washboard abs and is bodily perfect, right? There's something to be said about the imperfect, right?
Yeah, I think it's so beautiful.
Everybody wakes up with crud in their eyes. Everybody has stank breath when they wake up. You know what I mean? Like, it's not mutually exclusive to a certain group of people. Like, that's just how people are, right?
Yeah.
So that means a lot when it comes to showing people like, hey, listen, just because you see me in this form doesn't mean that I don't have pajamas and eating a bag of chips and watching TV.
Right? Yeah. And if anything, like, I wanted to be dressed up for the longest time and be done physically for the longest time in order to do these videos. But I've had a lot of conversations with myself, and I'm like, I want people to know the real me. Right. And if this is the real me in this moment, then I need to portray that if I'm up to portraying that in that moment. I always give myself the grace to like not post or not film if I don't want to.
Oh, that's good. Do you have a team? Is it just you, or have you grown and started getting a team where people are filming you, photographer, videographer, anything like that?
I am in the process of creating a team. I currently have a publicist. My publicist is right now looking for a social media marketer, and then I'm also looking for a social media manager to help pitch me and find more jobs. Because recently all of the jobs, I've been grateful enough that they've reached out to me, the companies have, the brands have. And I think that would be the next step for me, is just building a team that I think would work really well together and has everyone's best interests in mind, including mine. And we all grow together.
Absolutely. Do you find privacy an issue when you put everything out there like that? I mean, only because, like, you make yourself so accessible. And I say this very respectfully. Like, some people will sit back and say, well, just because I'm is that something that's a struggle, or was that something that you were concerned with for yourself? Or people, and just in general, when they make everything so accessible to themselves.
I think that was a big reason why I didn't start sooner.
Got it.
Because I had so many worries, but I knew that this is something I wanted to do. Right. And again, having so many conversations with myself, I realized that I am in control. I can show people what I want to show them. And if people ask questions that I don't want them to ask, they can ask that, but that doesn't mean that I need to answer it. Like, I'm trying to keep my personal life personal.
We don't do that on this show, just so you know that. Full stop. I will never, on any guest, ask anything like this. Disclaimer, this is not that show to do that to you.
I never got that feeling from you. You've been so kind. But like, I just, like, let's say I am in the hospital for some reason. I'm not going to show that because I don't want people to see that. I don't want the pity. If I am doing, like, I have a day job, I don't want to tell people what I do because ultimately, that's not my end goal.
Exactly.
My end goal is content. So I try to keep my personal life separate for me. And then I portray some personal, like, I give them personal thoughts.
Yeah, that's different. See, that's different.
Morning routine. Like, and I think that's enough to fill everyone's cup, including mine.
I think too, because people, like, honestly kind of just need a pep up or something positive coming in their life. It's not like, I mean, there's a thin line between this is the pep up talk for the day, this is the great coffee shop that we're visiting, this is the great beach that we visited, versus people pouring their soul, like this is the confessional couch, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and I always want to be present. So, like, let's say I'm doing a fun activity or I'm going to dinner. I never go in there with the intention of what I'm going to film, unless I'm with my creator friends. Then we're like, oh, this would be so fun to create together. I'm always present. And if something pops in my mind, I'm like, do I want to film this right now? Or can I do this at another dinner with my creator friends? I always want to be present for myself with whoever I'm with, because I've noticed with a lot of more established creators, they kind of get to this point where their day-to-day life is their business. Yes. So they're always in that business mindset of like, oh, I should film myself making lunch.
Right.
But I want to give myself the grace to be present for myself.
Right. Yeah. It's because there's, I have kids and they watched, videos of families who have kids. And then there's a guy named like Sean Duras, and he's like in Utah. I don't know if you ever heard of that family. Well, basically,
I haven't. I'm better faces.
Yeah, okay. Well, like they're huge, right? Like they show themselves at, like, and I'm paraphrasing because I'm probably getting the wrong family, but like they're at theme parks, they show themselves at the pool. It's like activity that they just show themselves doing various activities, right? You can clearly tell that, I mean, they're massively successful at what they do, but it's like it's in their house. And I'm just wondering about those kids that are like, and like, dang, are they gonna be at like 13, like, get the camera out of my face now? Like, I would really like to actually, and I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. I certainly don't know them, but or is that just what they know, and then they'll build something bigger behind the scenes where they're just gravitatingly naturally off the camera, so to speak, right?
Yeah. I think I don't have children, but I think if I'm still doing this by the time I do have children, I'm for myself. And if other people want to show their family activities,
right,
that's their choice.
Exactly.
But for myself, I never want to do anything until they make the decision to want to do it on their own or not want to do it.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think with that, I think that also kind of goes into being present during certain activities, during certain moments for myself, because as I get older, if I start to have a family, I want to have those moments for my family.
Absolutely. Right. And right, because there are respectful moments that just need to be shared with the inner circle. So, that are respectful for that. So, like, when you're racking up these views and, you do have people that reach out to you, and I'm certainly not going to ask who does, like, what's the pitch in general? Like, how do you discern from a scam? Right. Because everybody's posted a video and then, it's been like, okay, this is great. And then you look it up and it's a non-existent company. You're like, this doesn't seem right. So, do you have a good vetting process to make sure that obviously whoever you're talking to can be legitimate?
A lot of it, personally feel like I have a really good intuition. Mm-hmm. So if someone reaches out to me and I'm unsure, but I'm interested in knowing more, I'll obviously get more information, but I'm never going to be like yes or no.
Absolutely.
If I think it's a scam, I'm not going to answer it. As for like emails, because I get a lot of emails from brands that want to work with me, you have to look at the email. If it's not like an official email address, then it's a scam. And I think a lot of it too is like I also have creator friends, and I talk to them about like if I'm unsure about a certain possible brand deal or certain creator or certain brand reaching out, I'd be like, hey, what are your thoughts on this?
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of it is just a conversation. I think it's good to also have someone like an outsider's perspective,
for sure,
who is also in the business as well.
I think it's crazy that, like, I don't consider myself too old, but the generational difference, and I say this respectfully, is like, some generations only know social media. That's the only thing. Like, it's crazy to me, right?
That's so crazy.
It's like literally, like, right. So like I was around, knock on wood, when YouTube first came out in 2005, right? And like, it was just like a cute little thing, like, oh, cool, I can watch like a clip from my favorite show. And they got sued all the time because they copyright laws and all that other stuff. Mm-hmm. But then, even when like Napster came out, right, you're like, oh my gosh, you can actually like burn CDs and get like your favorite song out there. And before it became like the norm to have digital music, there was a big like legal problem with all of this stuff going across platforms that like, shattered the whole industry norms. But like for people who only know social media, it's not even like a negative thing, right? Like, but for people who have to kind of get dragged along from the the yellow pages era, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a big transition. I'm 25, so I'm on like the later end of that transition, and I also grew up in such a small town, and I grew up like in the woods, in an apple orchard. So like I didn't have service growing up.
Oh wow.
Which I'm very grateful for. I really enjoyed it. I had time to be a kid and be creative in my own mind.
Yeah.
And I didn't get into social media until I was 15. And I was like even late to it. Yeah. Because all of my friends had it. I didn't have it. So I think a lot of it, like, it's so strange to me that this generation just grows up with social media.
I mean, oh my goodness,
it's
man.
It's so like, interesting.
Right. It's nuts, right? I mean, like,
it's all they know.
That's it, right? And it's like even something so simple like, listen, I remember what a Blockbuster was like, okay? So, I mean, like, when you had actually a movie, right? And if it wasn't in stock, then that's just all she wrote. It wasn't on demand. If a movie came to a theater, it took a year to 16 months for it to come on tape, right? Tape.
Yeah.
Not DVD, tape.
I remember when Redbox was huge, where you could rent movies. That was like the new big thing.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, exactly. And now, you see right outside a drugstore or a grocery store. Yeah. It's nuts, man. And now we're talking over this, right? We have an opportunity to talk over a platform like this, or and I'm sure you've talked to people different time zones, different countries, all these other things, and you to be able to grow your brand and go viral and do the things that you've done because of this, the positive aspects of social media, the great things you can do, something that you're looking for instantly to make you happy, or find a business partner, or, anything that can involve growing Jessi Sims' business can be done in a very short amount of time when it comes to making that melt moment or that magic happen for you.
Yeah, of course. Social media can be negative. I think allowing yourself to be present, be authentic, a lot of positive can come out of it.
Absolutely.
As for like hate comments, I think a lot of it has to do with like your own mental ability to look past it, because they're pretty scary. They're pretty bad. But I think as I've gotten a little bit older, I've matured and grown, being around social media for quite some time, it doesn't really affect me anymore. If anything, I find it very funny.
Really, like for me, and I think one of the reasons we're having a good conversation, because we come from the same, pure place. It's like, listen, man, there's lots of places you can find things that'll make you mad or go down a dark path. And, for all intents and purposes, you got one life to live. So I like to stick to things that make me happy and bring me joy, or at least like don't upset me, because like I'm not, how some people hate watch stuff, right? Like I have to stick to something that I hate because I can't take my eyes off of it. Meanwhile, the person that you hate watching is like, thank you for the views and everything like that. Right. So like they're not really losing when you actually like put it into perspective, right?
Yeah, that's why a lot of people, it's called like rage baiting. That's why a lot of people do that. Because they get a lot of views, they get a lot of views, which I understand. It's a process. Like, I get it. I'm not upset.
Exactly. There's a reason why people like in, WWE or wrestling or what it's called, they have the heel. There's a reason why there's the heel in sports, right? Because the person's like, okay, well, like I'll wear the black hat, so to speak. And Floyd Mayweather said it best: people pay to watch me lose, right? That's how he, and he never did, but he mastered that domain, right, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so
it takes a lot of confidence. It really does.
It does.
And I admire that about them. I don't think I personally, as of now, would be able to do that.
Yeah.
But it is admirable.
It is, because it really it takes a special skill set and a special person to be completely confident and let everything bounce off of them to where they're not going to take it personal, right? And they understand that it's part of the game. And then you see the Jake Pauls and Logan Pauls of the world where they're like, you're still paying attention to me, and that's all that really matters.
And to this day, they're still super successful.
Of course.
Madly successful.
Of course. But to your point, when it comes to authenticity, that's who they are. And that's not, if Jessi Sims was to try to pivot in that direction, it wouldn't be authentic to your audience and the brands that have partnered with you, because everybody would sit back and say, well, with all due respect, this person's just trying to make a quick buck, right?
Yeah. And if like that's like the Pauls, like they're being authentic.
Right.
And if it gets like drastic different opinions, then so be it. They're being themselves and they're being successful while doing it. So I'm happy for them. That's not me. And that's okay. Right. People want to see me for me. And if I do anything like that, they're going to be like, who is this?
Right. Right. I'm 100 episodes deep. And like, if I start, going on the podcast and say, you know what, I'm going to do this particular subset of content, people would, who know me would be whole way off the side. Like, dude, what are you doing? Right. I'm like, because that's like, that's just not who I am. And it's the same, set of guides that I kind of have worked in my respective lane. I like talking to interesting people like yourself, because I always like to find fascinating things, and particularly because there's a generational difference where I had a Facebook account. I still have a Facebook account, but I'm probably the worst social media person in the world, where like hashtags and all that other algorithm stuff, I'm just like, dude, that's too much, because I came into social media just connecting with college people and seeing family photos and reconnecting with people from high school or, et cetera, in the back. Whereas people of, your generation and younger are like, man, this is great to make a business out of, right?
Yeah. So it's like everyone has a different intention when it comes to that. So if social media changes from your intention, it's going to be hard to transition with that.
Correct.
And like it's always changing. So sometimes it can be really hard to keep up and understand just the business part of it.
Oh, for sure. MySpace was the biggest thing when I first got on there, and then that thing got crushed, when Facebook came out. And you're like, well, on paper, there was no difference, right? But it mattered because the different audience they cultivated. The layout was different, and then the intent, and then the rest is history. So, One thing I've always, asked every single person is, first of all, two things. Is there anything that you haven't discussed with me on here that you'd like to talk about?
Don't think so right now. I feel like moving forward, there are a lot of things coming, but not to the point where I can speak about it, which is exciting.
Absolutely.
I don't know. I just really enjoyed talking with you. I really did.
I said, thank you. And it's always been a joy because, the biggest thing about it is that I enjoy great conversations, positivity, and I love when people are doing great things for themselves and they've carved out a respective lane for themselves. And so my second part to that is, where can people find Jessi Sims?
People can find me, my username, you can find me on all social media. My username is Jessi Sims, Jessi.
Okay. And what's funny is if you misspell it, and I say this respectfully, there's a lot of people with a similar name like yours. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. I was looking. Yep. And I was like, okay, it took a minute to kind of discern which one was which,
Yeah, and the way my first name is spelled is not common. It's Jessi. So if you spell it the most common way, then you'll find other people.
That's exactly what happened to me, even though I had, your information, sometimes the autocomplete.
Yeah, no, it happens all the time.
Okay, I don't feel as bad. So
No, it happens all the time. I almost expect it.
Okay, cool. Well, I got to tell you, I thank you so much for being on the Tron podcast, and I'm very much looking forward to watching more of your viral clips and videos, and keep putting out that positive energy.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It was so nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you as well, too. Bye.
Bye.